right, hello and welcome to another interview from GurdyWorld.com. Myself, Noel Bodin, and Max Enlow, and we are really, well, I'm super excited to welcome Johannes Geworkian Hellman, who is over in Sweden at this point in time on a tour, not in his home, in a lovely hotel room with beautiful artwork in the background. Welcome, Johannes. We're very happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. A pleasure to meet you guys.
A pleasure to
Yeah,
meet you.
it's so great. So, for those of the audience that may not know you, which would seem unlikely, but can you just give us a little background on who you are, what you do, how you came to the Gurdy? But first, a little bit on your background, where you're from, and what you're doing, especially right now.
Yeah, so I'm 35 years old. I'm born 1990, and I grew up in Sweden. And My mother is a musician, classical pianist,
Oh,
and my father
great.
was an historian. So my mother wanted me to start with music, me and my sister with music when we were children. So I started with the classical violin when I was 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I was more or less forced to start with it, you know.
Yeah, right.
But
For
I
you.
like,
I feel
I
so
am,
bad for you.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But I enjoyed music a lot since I was a child. Like to listen to music, I really felt when I was like 8, 9 years old that I, I, I enjoyed it so much. It really opened something in my inner world, made it connect myself to my inner world. So I listened to many different styles of music from since I was a child. And yeah, I also had an historical interest because of
Yeah,
my father.
right.
And yeah, so it happened so that I saw hurdy-gurdy in a concert, you could say, like when I
Where
was
did you, how old were you when you saw that?
I was like 13 years old, 13, 14 years old. Yeah,
Was it a
13.
concert that you went to or your parents took you to, or was it?
Yeah, my father took it. There was this kind of historic event, like
Oh,
medieval.
okay. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and there was a really cool hurdy-gurdy player there played, and I was like really amazed by this
Right.
instrument and the sound. I felt like, wow, this sound sounds like how I would like to sound somehow. It was this like deep, archaic sound, but also very modern because he also played a lot of electronic music.
Oh,
Yeah, so
that's
it was
pretty
cool.
cool for a historical
Yeah,
hurdy-gurdy
wow.
Yeah,
concert. That's,
yeah.
yeah,
And you know,
nice.
this thing took me into, I think somehow it connected me to folk music and I started to listen. And I remember also I played classical violin from scores, but what I really liked to do was to like improvise on the violin myself
Yeah.
and like play things by ear. So somehow, yeah, it lead me into the folk
Right.
music, the way of playing folk music, and somehow, and it took some time because it was really hard to find instruments or find anyone who actually knew anything about hurdy-gurdy. I went to this like really great classical music elementary school, but the teachers there didn't know anything about this instrument. For them, it was like an old medieval thing
Yeah.
that, had three
Typical
notes
story.
and none of them were
Yeah.
tuned. And,
Yeah.
so somehow,
How did you get the first instrument? And did your
uh,
parents help you with that, or was
yeah,
that
actually,
later?
yeah, after some time, my father helped me to order an instrument from Leif Eriksson, who is the guy who like
Hmm.
reconstructed the Swedish hurdy-gurdy, like the
Uh-huh.
instrument that Garmarna and Hedningarna and all the other Nordic groups played. And for me, that was like the most amazing instrument I knew about. And it was also more or less the only instrument I knew about
Right.
regarding hurdy-gurdies.
Well,
So I
did you
remember
live near
when
him?
no, or I mean, maybe 3 hours by
Okay.
train. I
Not
remember we
bad.
went, and these instruments were, I mean, it was a lot of money, but in the same time, you cannot at all compare it to what like an instrument costs today. Not at
Oh,
all. I
yeah.
think it was $1,000 at that time.
Oh, wow. That's
But
nothing.
maybe $1,200. So, but it
Yeah.
was a lot of money for us, and I was like, really, wow, my father invested in this for me. But I was really happy, and we
Yeah.
went to Leif, who is a really lovely, lovely guy, and I got the instrument in a box, like a box of paper, So because I didn't have
Oh,
a
a
case.
cardboard
Yeah,
box.
yeah, exactly. So I took it like that. I took it home and I started to play this instrument on the side of the classical music. And I didn't have an idea of myself becoming a musician at that time. I
Right.
wanted to work with like politics or societal questions or history. But it started something in me. I got so passionate about music and folk music and all the different like contemporary mixes of folk and jazz music and so on.
Mm.
So yeah, it was really a strong passion as a teenager, and the
That's
instrument as
interesting
well,
that you talk about that you were interested in politics and
for sure.
social, uh, yeah, social situations. Because
Would
I
you?
always find that with folk music, that's something that's a
Mm.
very strong connection. And
Especially
like,
like regarding lyrics and so on, I guess like
mhm.
American folk tradition for sure.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
w-
Yeah, because a lot of that tradition, well, the modern tradition, especially for us here in America, is more protest songs
Yeah.
and getting, community together and all that. So I find that interesting,
Would you
especially
Mm.
say
in
you
these
mentioned that
times.
you weren't super interested in music as a career? Is the hurdy-gurdy the thing that made you interested in it as a career, or
I think I somehow found, as I said, I enjoyed music. I enjoyed playing it.
Mm,
But when I found the hurdy-gurdy, after some years, I felt that, but this is like the voice I would like to use. I felt it fitted me somehow to use as a voice. And then I start to feel that, oh, but I would like to play music, actually. That's what I want to
okay?
do. Because I still, when I was like, yeah, the years went by and I played it, and I was more going into this when I was starting the gymnasium, which is like secondary high school in
Hmm.
English,
yeah,
if I'm not, from
yeah,
16, 17, 18. Yeah.
yeah,
When I was 17, we had just started our first band, when we played a lot on the folk scene and so on. And I started to understand that, but what I'm really longing for and thinking of all the time is to play music, to play it together with people and to just be in the music. So actually, maybe that's what I want to do now. And it was quite hard when I was in the secondary high school because, the question came that, oh, but shouldn't you get like another type of education and then you can have music on the side?
yeah.
And but I felt
Oh, I
so
know.
I had a hard time, and then I felt that, but hey, I have a dream. No, but I have a passion and I have a dream. And if you have a dream about what you want to do, and if you live in a country where it's actually possible to go for that dream and try, I felt that somehow I should do it because I wish everyone on this earth to be on a place where they enjoy to be. Not
Yeah,
everyone has that possibility, but I at least had the possibility to go for a try. So I decided that I change my way and go into music studying. And if it doesn't work, I will figure that out somehow later. And then I
yeah.
was happy that I had lived all my life as a freelance musician on my music. So I was lucky.
Absolutely. When you
Very
choose
cool.
a career that you love, then you're a healthy, happy individual. And that's a better individual in society than someone that's doing something that they don't want to do.
That's
So,
for sure.
yeah.
Absolutely, for sure. But then, as we said, you need to have, of course, a lot of work, but also some
Mhm.
kind of luck to be able, because there are so many amazing musicians that cannot live from their art or So
Well,
yeah, but I
connections.
was, yeah,
That's,
connections,
yeah.
that as well. There are so many things. But
So
yeah,
when you went to school, do you feel that that's where you got a lot of the connections that helped you, or was it more with your band and just like gigging
more,
and doing
yeah.
that kind of stuff?
I think it was both, of course, because I know a lot of some of the like really greatest jazz musicians and also classical musicians in Sweden today.
Yeah.
But I think it was going to festivals and also like searching for people who I admired or who inspired me. And also, I play with some people that I played with since so many years. So to have good connections and to um, take care of the relations as
Yeah.
well. So a mix of all of these things, of course. But for example, I went to Royal College of Music with the hurdy-gurdy as my instrument. from 21 years old, 3-year bachelor and 2-year master. And of course, I got a lot. It was a platform to meet a lot of other great musicians and also teachers, and also to get some exposure
Yeah.
playing, so that has helped me a lot, of course.
Yeah.
What type of music were you talked about your band that you had in like late high school and into
Yeah.
college. What kind of music were you playing back then? Was it just like traditional folk or?
No, it was actually a band that still exists, and the name is Garisim, which is like a trio, which is some kind of uh, folk free fusion, is what we called it. It's Elias is a saxophone player who is coming from a background of Nordic folk and jazz music, and then it's Jordi Carrasco, who is a double bass player from the classical world, but also very much into improvisation. He has a master in improvisation, actually, and also grew up from the teenage years with folk as myself. And then we just started to play traditional material, but always with a strong interest in the arrangements, and maybe going more towards art music form of arrangements, which I am quite interested in overall. And then we started to compose our own music and so on. Yeah, so that was
Cool.
the start. So and then I started at the Royal College. I studied like Swedish traditional music. That was the name of the program, and that's because I looked for music. What kind of music can I play with this instrument? And I was really interested in folk and so on. But I started to play that music, which I really love. But I was always interested in contemporary music for the instrument, and just I think most of the music that I play is music that I have composed myself, or of course with my colleagues in my bands. And I really like that creation part in music, and to somehow take the things I like be inspired by different things, and create an expression from there. And of course, the contemporary hurdy-gurdy music, which is not a really big subject, but from Matthias Leubner and Valentin Castries and the other people, the other few people who have composed for that, was very inspiring for me. And so on. Yeah.
How long did you
So
play on your Leaf Erikson instrument before getting a new instrument?
I played it. I think I had my Allegro from Wolfgang Weichselbaumer 2008. So I played the other instrument like 4 years maybe.
Okay.
And then I had this, I ordered and I worked the whole summers, to have the money to pay. I think it was 3,500 or something euro. And then I had that, and it was, it's something else, and I love that instrument so much.
Did that next one have electronics in it?
It had one mic in it. So, but I was really lucky because I played that Allegro very much. And then I had the possibility I saved up more money, and I wanted to change it for an Allegro 2, which is an instrument with more strings, like 7 strings, and also to have an advanced amplification system. But then I was really lucky that I could buy the second-hand instrument of Herman Diaz, which was a big inspiration for me, which was a tenor instrument. And he gave his one back to Wolfgang because Wolfgang was making a new for him. And then I got to buy it, which I'm really grateful for. And that was a big thing because I listened a lot to Herman's music, and I liked it so much, and I tried to learn the things, and I knew that I have heard someone else play these things with the instrument. So if it doesn't work, it's not because of the instrument, it's because of me, because someone else did this. And that was really it was a good thing for me.
Was that after the university or?
No, that was I just had my Allegro 2 years. It was already in the middle of 2010. So I was 20 then, and that really gave me this this instrument that had possibilities to do, and especially play more contemporary and experimental things, which I was really into. So I'm really grateful for that I had the possibility to buy that instrument.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that's where I want to kind of skip ahead a little bit too, because you've been touring the United States and all over Europe with your band Symbio.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, working live in performance settings with the hurdy-gurdy can
Yes.
be difficult. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so one of the things that, I'd like to kind of get your information on is like how you cope with that. Like talking about your instrument, your setup, things that you plan for. Because a lot of my students ask about that all the time. Just even in lessons, it's difficult for them to deal with changing tunings and so on and so forth.
Mm.
But just, from your perspective, what are some of the things that you've done for, your instrument or your setup that might be helpful to know?
Well, as you say, we can start to say that it's a really lovely instrument, the hurdy-gurdy, but it is extra tricky, and everyone knows that who plays it.
Yeah.
And especially, I think, like, I had this feeling since I was quite young that I want to use the instrument, like all colors of the instrument, and I
Yeah.
play one instrument with quite different type of stuff. And then the instrument needs to work in many keys, and you want to extra things, and always we are interested to, because the instrument is developing a lot right now, and since the 20, 30 last years, as you know,
Mm.
with some great makers
Yeah,
who are
absolutely.
developing it, and we always want to try the new things and so on. But sometimes you need to make like a balance, like how many new things and what it should also work
Yeah.
regarding the stability.
Yeah.
So, but and I played some instruments. I played instruments from Wolfgang. I also worked the later years playing. My main instrument now is from Rebollo,
Yeah.
Jaime Rebollo in Galicia. So that's the instrument I'm touring with now since 6 years, and I also toured with the previous instrument from Wolfgang quite some years.
Is that the one that has the open key box lid?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, next to me here.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, you need to find an instrument which has the sound that you like, or you can work with the dynamics, but then also a stability. And that is hard, I must say, because sometimes you think that, oh, but if I just have this hurdy-gurdy, it will be so stable. But
They're all a problem.
they
Yeah.
have their issues. I say they have so many strings, and every string wants to sing their own song, but they need to sing together.
That's a good way of looking at it.
But
Is that mostly what you're saying, is that for you, you've taken the instrument and you have worked on it a lot so that it specifically works for your situation?
I think we all need to do that with an instrument. Even how good the maker is, it's so personal regarding adjustments on the instrument. It goes for all makers, I would say. That I mean, I can get an instrument which is from the same maker, but it's quite different, and maybe the setup is different. So
Yeah.
yeah, you need to get into the instrument, as you guys know.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
so on, and choose what is more or less important maybe to have. But of course, you're speaking about live setup. I think that if the temperature changes are not too big, it works for me. I have a lot of capos because I play in a lot of different keys. And regarding tuning and so on, if it's not like super dry or super the other
Humid.
thing,
Humid. Yeah.
humid,
Yeah.
exactly. It's fine, because I'm the instrument is so used to travel to different parts of the world. But of
Right.
course, sometimes I'm just
Rotating.
like, "Oh, come on,
Yeah,
why?"
exactly. Yeah.
But that's normal. You need always to spend some extra time. I mean, I play most of my time, 70% of my gigs are with my dear fellow accordion friend. And how nice it would be to just have an instrument which is just tuned and works. And if
Yeah,
it doesn't
exactly.
work or
Yeah.
tune, someone will tune it for you and you
Right.
get it back.
Right. But that's one of the big subjects that we always talk about and that we have to post about a lot on GurdyWorld.com. Is that,
Mm.
people are under the assumption that when they buy a hurdy-gurdy, it's just gonna work.
Yeah, yeah.
And that it's just not how, like you have to spend a lot of time learning the instrument, learning maintenance, and understanding where your instrument is going wrong or what it needs specifically, even
Yeah,
down to different types of rosin and strings. It is
yeah.
it is a very specific thing. And we get a lot of messages from people where
Mm.
they're like, I bought this instrument and 3 months later it sounds
Ah,
terrible and blah, and it's like, well, have you done anything to it? Like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's what the disappointment is, because especially in America, I think a lot of people come from a background of band instruments or traditional instruments. You know, when you go to play piano, you sit down, you play. It's not the instrument, you know, unless it needs
Mm,
big tuning, it's you.
mm,
But in many cases with the hurdy-gurdy, and I think that this is one of the main reasons why it's such a instrument of connection,
mm.
is that you learn your instrument. Your instrument is personal, and you make the adjustments that you need, and you learn how it works, and then it
Yeah,
becomes your instrument. And I
yeah.
think that especially with a lot of your music and the album that won the folk award in Sweden this year. Yeah, the
Endeavor or Migrating or
Migrating.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
actually, it's nominated. The prize
Oh,
will be given in
well, it
March.
won.
But
Oh, okay.
no,
Close
no,
enough.
oh no, no, no. But it's actually we're nominated with some of my old idols that I listened to when I got into folk, who are really great. So
Nice.
let's see. I'm just happy
Yeah.
that we are nominated, and I love the album.
And you can hear the voice of the
Mm,
instrument in those
thank you.
songs. You know, it's like the connection is made through the user and the instrument,
Yeah,
and
for
you
sure.
can really feel it. But I think that that's an important thing for all people that play hurdy-gurdy, whether it's beginners or advanced, is that you have to spend time with your instrument. You
Yeah,
have to understand how to adjust
yeah.
it. In America, it's a little different because we don't have a lot of luthiers here that can help
No, no.
when there's difficulties.
Yeah,
And that was something else I was going to ask you about. When you were traveling around in America on the
yeah.
road, did you ever have, like, was there any worry or accidents or anything that happened? No, it was all good.
No, hopefully not. I mean, there are small things, but I am a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to the sound of the
Right.
hurdy-gurdy and like how I want things to be. And to be perfectionist with the hurdy-gurdy is it's somehow
Yeah.
I think it's good because it makes us strive, but we will
Makes
never
you
get really
stronger.
happy. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I learned something about acceptance through all of these years, and I'm still have a lot to learn about that. But for sure, it helped me.
When you
Wow.
do when
But
you do across the ocean travel, I know
yeah,
you
yeah,
bring the
Yeah.
big hurdy-gurdy, you bring like a lot of electrical equipment, all the pedals and
yeah,
everything. How
yeah,
is the
yeah.
transportation from Europe to
Oh,
here?
yeah.
It works good because we just check in the electronics, and then I take the Gurdy on my back, and it's
Yeah.
in the overhead lockers, and it will be fine. I have a small humidifier inside the case uh,
What do you
when
use
going
for
to the.
a humidifier? Do you?
I use these Boveda bags, if you know
Yep, we
about
do the
them. It
same.
was
Oh
kind
Yep,
yeah,
of,
we do
yeah,
that.
but
Okay,
actually
cool.
most of the years I just used like a
a
humid
sponge.
little, yeah, exactly, in a small
Yeah.
plastic bag which is open, and that has worked very well, I need
Okay.
to say.
Yeah. The
So
Boveda
yeah,
packs we've recommended here. They've
yeah,
worked really good. So
and
for your
I mean,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, I had my Weichselbaumer for many years, and I never had a crack from any, dryness and so I was really lucky with that. And I
Yeah.
didn't tour in the US back then, but I toured quite some European countries, and Sweden is very divided regarding can be really dry in the north and really humid in the
That's the
south.
same for us.
Same
Yeah.
here, yeah.
And that's where we develop a lot of cracks in our instruments because it's either
Yeah,
very humid in the summer and then very dry in the winter and it fluctuates a lot.
but also to mention, if there are people listening who are worried for cracks, if the instrument cracks, not too bad. And if you are with a person who is good at repairing these kind of things, that can be a hurdy-gurdy maker, but it can be a violin or guitar maker or someone else who are really good in this, then it's actually good to have, for me, to have, like, if I have some cracks that are well repaired,
Mm,
I think it will not crack as much again, So
yeah.
somehow
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to have a good crack and then put
Yeah.
it together again.
Yeah. I think for us it's usually like guitar luthiers here know a
Yeah,
little bit more because with violin makers you have to open up the back. They're used to opening up the back of the instrument and then
yeah,
getting
yeah.
in there and doing the repairs. And with the Gurdy,
True.
you don't want people opening up the instrument because that would not be good. So if
Yeah.
they try to find like a guitar luthier that can help,
Yeah,
I,
yeah. There are many
I
good ones. I had help from so many of them.
Cool.
there's a lot of good luthiers around too. I had a Gertie where the back seam just completely split open and the whole instrument was coming
Ah,
apart.
I've seen
And
that
it
too.
was a curved back too, and I was pretty nervous to take it to a luthier, a guitar luthier, who typically works on like flat back guitars. But he just
Yeah.
he cut it open and added like a extra bar in the middle, a piece of wood, and
Oh,
it
I've
ended
seen
up
that
great.
too. Great.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
you know, if you can find a good luthier, you know, they're not just
Yeah.
guitar makers. They can work on wood. They can work
A-
on
And it's a
all.
nice thing what you said, because you don't have these, because we have a few great makers here. We have some makers in Europe which are really great with some different like directions.
Yep.
So, but if you buy, you need to buy instrument which has a good soul and quality. And when I say soul, a good soul regarding the sound,
Yeah.
and of course the function. But then I think if you find someone who is good at repairing things, you can go a long time without meeting that luthier if it's not like specific things for, you know, axle or like other things. So that's a good thing too. That yeah.
I find you really need to be able to do some basic repairs yourself. A lot of people, when they get a basic problem, they go,
Yeah.
"Oh, I need a luthier." But oftentimes, the wheel is removable. You can always do that and put it back
Yeah.
in.
Oh my
And
God. Yeah.
most
And I'm
luthiers
not
will
a
give you
handy.
instructions.
Yeah, I'm not a handy person, like, but I learned to do some things with my instrument that I really needed to do. So some people who are handy, they will maybe can do a lot of things,
Hmm.
so on, so on. Yeah. But
So,
regarding, I don't know if we're going into the live setup part, electronics
absolutely.
or
Yeah.
so on.
Yeah.
Um, um, I was lucky to start to work quite early with this instrument from Wolfgang, made by Wolfgang Hellman, the tenor, which had separated pickups, so a pickup system
Is
where
that
you
the
could.
blue box system?
Yeah, that's what's called the blue box. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, development has went further since that time and so on. But that was really good for me to be able to have these pickups in the on the different
Separate
positions
strings.
of the.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
on the bridge of the melody and on the trumpet, on the drone, so on. So even if I just used it quite basically, I maybe in the beginning I normally gave one line with the sum of all these 4 channels, including the sympathetics. But
Mhm.
after a while, I started to separate them all in a mixer, and also connect pedals to the melody and also sometimes to the drone, if so. And then the more I worked, and I started, I mean, what I'm using now since a few years, which I saw was starting to get more popular for also hurdy-gurdy players. In spring 2022, me and my colleague in Symbio, we bought this quad Cortex from the Neural DSP. It's like a multi-effect pedal for guitars, where you
Okay.
have the
Yep.
possibility to separate a lot of channels. So in my case, I can put in 4 microphones and get them out as well, separated. And you can have effect change for each one of these lines.
Oh, that's
And it
cool.
was, yeah,
Yeah.
and for me, it's changed a lot. And I know that I saw now during the last years that many people also in folk started to buy this pedal. And I think if you're a hurdy-gurdy player and you buy this, you don't want to leave it out again, because it's
Yes.
really helpful. And it's funny because it was my dear friend in Symbio who said, but hey, Johannes, since you always you want to separate the
Divide.
channels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I always brought this mixer, and he said,
Mhm.
this new thing maybe would suit you and both of us. So that's why I bought it, and it works very well.
Good.
So, and I have some
Excellent.
additional pedals also, but just a few because I like the sound of them, like some reverb and delay pedals, which I use to create the sound I like. So that's the thing. And also I've been working a lot with microphone positions
I
and
was
also
just gonna,
researching.
that was the other thing I want to really
Mm,
talk about. And one thing I'll just say too for the interview is that in the description and the comments of this video, we'll have all the links to the gear so that people will know,
cool.
like the Boveda humidity packs and just all the things that you're talking about and recommending. But microphones
Fantastic.
definitely can, you talk a lot about miking because There's a lot of times when, for instance, I'm using a clip-on mic in a live setting, and the placement really matters because when you start cooping, it is like someone hitting you in the head with a hammer, and it is not what you want. So, I mean,
I
talk
mean,
some about that.
we all know the situation. We usually joke about it with my bands, but we all know the situation when you have been to a sound check and you're checking the hurdy-gurdy,
Yeah.
and the sound engineer is by the mixing table, and you're playing, and then you're like, yeah, but like, how does it feel for you? Because you didn't get any comments from him or
Right.
her, and the engineer says, yeah, it sounds good, but there is some kind of distortion
Yeah.
coming here all the time, and it's like, yeah, okay,
What's that awful
yeah,
buzzing sound?
exactly, yeah. It's quite rhythmic, but still distorted. No, but it is tricky because you have the same soundboard for, I mean, how many instruments can you find which has one soundboard where there are so many different sounds, like the buzzing drone, the melody, of course, but also the bass drone,
Right.
and then even the sympathetics.
Yeah.
There are not so many instruments like that, which can sometimes cause acoustic problems, of course, but especially that the sound is going into each other's mics. It's bleeding into each other.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you need to find a good microphone which has a clear sound and not noise on, which should be the standard all the time, of course. And then do you experiment and find the best place where you find most of the isolation?
Mm.
From the other parts of the
Well, and I think that
instrument.
that's an important point with the microphone placement because we often get questions or see people asking questions, where should I place the microphone? It depends on your instrument.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
And what you want,
Right. Yeah. It's completely different for what your instrument is built up, what the resonation is, like exactly where to put it.
Absolutely.
So you can get some advice, but it's more like just do it. Just place it on the bridge, place it on the ear, place it here, place it there.
This kind of goes back to
Go ahead, hon.
This kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where when you get an instrument and you start working on the setup of it, it's a very personal thing. It's one person can set up your instrument and then you can hand it off to somebody else and they might set it up totally differently. And it all comes down to your ear and how you like the sound. There might be 5 places you can put a microphone and they all sound good, but which one do you like the most? And that's usually where the personality comes into it, how you want your Gurdy to sound.
For sure, and that especially when it's for like external microphones when recording or like as a clip-on. But when it comes to pickups, it's a bit more easier, I would say, because you need to have the hard pressure on the electric pickup to get it to work. So when you find that, because I noticed during the years that even if I had a good system, if the pressure is not good, the mic will not sound good. And when I learned that, it was like, okay, I need to find like what material, what kind of cork or other material you use to really find a good pressure. And as you said, the position of it. But when you have done that helped quite a lot, really. And then, of course, it will be different if you work on the EQ when the instrument goes out in a PA or so. You can do a lot there. Especially if you're good at doing it, or if you are getting help from someone, or if you have a good sound technician, of course. And when it comes to like that's when it comes to live playing, because I only play normally when I play solo. Sometimes I have external condenser mic in front of me just as a add-on for the acoustics of the instrument, but I usually only work with my pickups.
Right.
And
for the condenser mic, what do you use for your extra condenser mic?
It depends on. I have it can be a DPA clip-on, but it can also be like I usually like this Pearl CC22, which I also record a lot of my things with, which is a very nice external mic for studio, but it works also really good for live. But that depends on if they have it on the venue. Otherwise, it's like a DPA. But I also wanted to say that I started, I think it was 2021, to use this IR response, which is it's a method where you can copy the sound of of an external mic, like an acoustic mic, because they usually sound better than a pickup.
Yes.
We all
Yeah.
know that, like from piezo
Absolutely,
violin.
yeah, because some of the pickups sound very nasally.
Yeah,
Really
exactly.
nasally, and that's the biggest problem. And it
Yeah, and
doesn't get a lot of the resonance of the body,
exactly, and
which
you
is another big
can
problem.
tweak it to better, like with the EQ, but as you said, not to get away from that type of sound, which
Yeah.
is more electric. And sometimes it can be cool as well. It depends on what you like, you know. But I yeah, I recorded the sound in a nice external microphone, and then I made this IR response, which is copying the sound into the pickup. So then
how do you, what is happening?
I used actually
What are
a
you doing?
pedal for that. I used a pedal for that,
Oh,
which is
okay.
made for string and just for string players actually, and also guitar players. And there are
Oh,
some different brands regarding this. It's coming now, and I know some other Gurdy players, I think, also are doing this in one or another way. And now you can also do it in your computer and download it in the pedal, you know. So the thing,
wow.
I mean, the thing is that the sound is strong and powerful as with the pickup, but it does have that good sound. It's a really big difference. So that has been a really important part of my live sound, because if you record, you find the good blend of the EQ'd internal pickups together with external microphones, and you can get a really nice sound. But when you play live, it's nice to not being in need of using the external, but you have like a better sound already from the beginning after the processing of the pickup.
Interesting. Is there any like phase shifting problems because do you know what I mean? Like
No,
anything?
yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's
I
all
have
good.
never had any problems regarding that special detail regarding
Yeah.
it.
Wow.
So
Cool.
it works very good.
That's really good
For
to
sure.
know.
Yeah. And everyone who tries it will, as I said before, I don't know what it was. Yeah, that pedal. Everyone who tries this want to be with it after that as well.
It sounds like it. That's great.
Do you ever
Yeah.
have problems with hearing yourself while you're on stage? Do you use like a monitor or anything, or has it not been an issue for you?
It depends on what. It's not an issue for me. I don't play like this. I don't play like metal music normally.
Right. Yeah.
I like metal music. It's not about that, but I don't perform with that style, you know, with heavy drums and guitars on the stage. And so I think normally it's not a problem if you don't play with this really when the sound is so big.
Mm-hmm.
So I play both with in-ear system, but also with monitors. It depends on the project and the band.
Yeah.
Both works, but of course you need to tweak the things. That's as the setup it as with the hurdy-gurdy. But I don't have problems with that usually. And
Okay.
it's always to find the balance of being powerful with the instrument, but also being able to play dynamically. And also, I mean, with the amplified sound. I like to feel that I almost can go away, but then come in strong as well. So for me, that is a question of finding the right amount of volume for myself.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so that's for live setup. For recording, do
Yeah,
you make any
yeah.
changes for recording? Like what's your recommendations with that?
I think for me, it's to have, like, as I said, to do all the things you can do to have a good pickup sound directly, as with the placements, and also, of course, the quality of the mics, and of course, the acoustic setup should be as good as possible.
Right.
And then to have some kind of good external mic. You can use many of them, but at least one of them,
Right.
and to
Yep.
find a good placement.
Yep. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
So, but
absolutely. Yeah.
usually I don't use more than 2 or 3 mics, external mics when I record, because I came to the conclusion that sometimes you have had these like 6, 7, 8 mics in front of you, and in the end you will use 3 of them, or at least I and my colleagues have done like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Cool. So, all right. So now let's get back to you toured the United States last September, I think it was. Yep, with Symbio.
yeah, September, October, yeah.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
was that fun? Did you enjoy it?
It was very nice, actually. We met so many nice persons in the audience, and you grow a lot when you make like a 1 month tour, and we tour a lot, and we actually celebrate 15 years together this year, which is amazing.
Wow.
The first four, it's wow, because it's a long relation, and we were 21 when we started. We were young. And you grow as a person, the band grows, and if you can, like the development that you are doing on the personal levels, if you can bring that with you and with the music, it's we're really grateful for that.
That's great.
So
And
how
now
did
you're
you-
in Sweden touring, is that right?
Now we're touring in Sweden, yeah. And I was just going to say that even if we play a lot, to do that long, like 1 month in the US, it's also something that you go through together and you grow as in your relation as a band, both from playing, of course, but also socially. And when you're on the tour, you always have some small adventures, or you have challenges and everything, And when you get through all that, it's like I felt that something happened in a good way after that tour, and feels good.
How did
And we're working. Yep.
Sorry, how did you originally meet Lars, right? The
Yeah,
accordion player? Yeah.
we met at this pre-college school after the secondary high school. Both me and Lars, we went 1 year to this music conservatory, and we met there. And I remember I have heard Herman Diaz playing with the accordion player, which was really nice. And they played this Astor Piazzolla and some stuff. And I was thinking, like, it would be really nice to play with someone who plays the accordion. And on the other hand, there was this French style. I really listened also a lot to French music with Grégory Jolivet and all the other fantastic players. And I was like, accordion would be nice. And then there was an accordion player there. And we didn't know each other, but it felt like it would be nice to try out these instruments, because he was the only accordion player and I was the only hurdy-gurdy player there. So we felt, why not take these odd voices and put them together?
That's great.
So we spoke about that, and then it took some time because we were busy with things, and then it was only 1 week left before we were going to finish school. And Lars is from another part of the country, so we were not from the same town. I'm from the capital, and he's from the west part of the country. So then we said, okay, let's have that jam session. So it happens. And then we took a tune, and I took this tune from Gilles Chabenat, Le Fille, and we played. And when we played, we just felt we have something going here, even if we don't know each other. We had a musical connection, and I think it was something like playing these traditional instruments, but with a very like open mind and a lot of inspiration from other musical styles than folk. So it felt like we wanted to arrange and try things with their instruments. We went together somehow. And after that jam, we just said that, but okay, we have a band, we have a duo, and let's continue when we meet the next time. And we didn't know when that's was going to be, but then both of us were accepted to the Royal College. So we started to rehearse, and we rehearsed in 4 years, trying to started quite early to create our own music. First, we made an arrangement of Le Fille, which was a really long arrangement with all the tricks we could do. So we had this one song with so many things. And then we learned a lot from working with that song and arranging. But then we started to do our own music. And then from 15, we started to tour. And then we have toured in 10 years now. And really lucky to do that. And we create our music. And it's been, something that because we are playing music which is it's not given. How do we use our instruments when playing this setup? And what is our music? What is the genre? It's some kind of a genre which is it's there because it's this contemporary folk blended with electroacoustic pop and this art, I would say film score music a little bit, but
ambient.
But still, it's not like when you play a jazz standard and you need this, and then we do like that. So we always explore and try. Yeah, exactly, exactly. No, but there is not a strict form of how to do it, but we are creating it, and I think we like to do that.
So do you do a lot of live improvisation during different improvisation during your sets, or do you guys both have something kind of sketched out and then
with
you know where to?
Symbio, it's very, yeah. With Symbio, we play like compositions. There is sometimes
Yeah,
small parts of improvisation, but it's very composed songs and titles.
yeah,
And it's the same with more or less all my musical projects have this song creating, like
yeah.
also with Maija and so. But some of the projects, like for example with Maija, it's more open
Mm,
forms, which allows more improvisation. So it
right.
depends. And I like to improvise a lot, also
Yeah,
solo and so
yeah.
on. Yeah.
Cool.
How did, during this point of your process where the two of you connected and started performing together and rehearsing together, when did you decide on the name Symbio and why?
It was in
Oh,
2013, and we actually had a gig in the summer, which was like we were invited to play just a few tunes
And this is
as an
while you're in
opening
school still?
in the Royal College. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I was playing a lot of gigs with my band Garizim at that time, like professionally. So I always worked, or not always, but during my time as a student at the university, I played quite a lot. So my so-called career as a musician was already starting then, and yeah. So our goal with Symbio was also quite from the beginning that we want to go out and play, but we took time and just had fun and wanted to find things first because we didn't have the push since we were students. But yeah, we got this gig and we were already thinking like, what should we call us? But then there was like 1,000 people in the audience. We felt now is the point. If they should remember who we were, we should have a name.
yeah.
And we thought of this name Symbio because symbiosis, as you know, is the term for two lives, two living organisms, which needs each other to live and to get energy. And we felt that we are two. Uh, it's sort of like a really strong duo project. And also like we can go to places where we couldn't really go alone. We could, but
Not the
still
same.
it's
Yeah.
always unique when we do it with Symbio or as with
Mhm.
someone else. And the things we put in to each other makes us go further. So
Yeah.
so that's why symbiosis, Symbio from symbiosis was the name. Yeah. And
Very
I
cool.
feel that it was a good name, which really describes our way together.
It is actually a great name.
It's a little like scientific, but it's also very like
Yeah.
creative and floaty. So it's yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. So
Cool. All right. So, couple more
yes,
things because this has
absolutely.
been
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
great. So, what are you doing now? And where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? So let's talk about your projects that you've got going right now, specifically
Yeah.
your solo project, and then where do
Mhm.
you see yourself 5 years from now, Johannes?
Well, big question. Well, I would say that what I'm doing now, and as I said, I've been working in quite long relations since also me and Maija played in for 10 years. But she's living in Finland, and we both were lucky to play a lot with our own project. She has an amazing solo career,
Mm,
um, among other things. And I play a lot with Symbio and also some solo things and so on. So
yeah,
but we love to play together, and it was really nice to make this album, Migrating, which is about migratory birds and inner migrations to music that
yeah,
we as people can
love
have.
that.
So that album is released, and it's nominated now for like the Swedish Indie Music Awards, Album of the Year for the folk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
category. Yeah.
exactly, which is really nice. And so we are working on a new album, our fourth album with Symbio, to celebrate our 15 years together.
Mhm.
And we are really happy because we have, after all these albums, 3 albums, we finally found the sound that we really like. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, but not
Nice.
regarding the playing and the compositions. Still, we are really happy with it. But we were like happy with that. But we found like the mixing sound, how that we
Yeah.
feel now that it sounds more like as we play live, and and it has also to do with these pedals that we're using, quite Cortex, and how we learn to dig into these things more, and also to mention that my partner Lars is an amazing sound engineer, and he has been mixing all our albums
Oh, wow.
during
Oh,
his
wow.
years. So he has also developed so much. Yeah, he's amazing. So he has developed that a lot, and we have also listened and like searched for how do we want it to sound. As we said, it's not so, because we use the instruments in a quite different way than the traditional way of playing an accordion and the
So
hurdy-gurdy,
you guys are
and also
mixing
with
your
the
own
beats that we are
stuff?
using.
So you're mixing your own stuff? Like, are you
Yes,
using
yes,
Logic and your own studio, or like, do you?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. We're recording nowadays. Before, everything is recorded live that we do with Symbio, but
Yeah.
this time we are like in a studio, but now we are recording in our own little rehearsal space.
Nice.
So we're
Yeah.
recording like song for song instead of doing the whole album 1 week. So now we have recorded
Yeah.
more than half of the next album, and that
Yeah.
also
That
gives
frees up a
us
lot of time. It's great.
it's yeah,
Yeah.
and also don't need to be 1 week in the studio to make the
Yeah.
whole album. When you play quite demanding things, it's nice to have like you can take a new day for one song, and you can take a break if it doesn't feel, instead of paying for
Right,
the
exactly.
studio costs.
Yeah.
So that has that made it a bit easier for us actually, and it fits with the music we are doing. But
Yeah.
also like to find like the sonoric idea of how the sound image, sound painting should sound when you have accordion, hurdy-gurdy, like playing the string, using the bass strings and the rhythms and the
Mhm.
melody in different ways, and with the heavy EQ of the accordion, and
Yep.
because he has a very heavily EQ'd bass side,
Yep.
for example, and also the beats that we are using, that Lars is playing with these stomp boxes. So how should everything fit in, But we are really happy that so we feel for the new album it feels really interesting,
Cool.
and so on. We love all the albums we have done, of course, but everything it's a
Oh,
document of the
everything
time. But
changes.
now we
Yeah.
feel like but this is wow. We get happy, and he's doing
Well,
such an
plus you
amazing
grow
job.
as a musician and things change, and so it's always
Luckily,
going to be different.
yes, it's like that, and it's something you need to accept also, which is a beauty of something. I can listen to something that I did with my bands like 10 years ago, and I think that but I should have done that. But still, luckily, in most cases, I feel that but I get touched by this art, and
Yeah.
I get the feeling of that, and I get moved by it. So
But
then
you
I get
also
happy. But
recognize that you grow and develop. If
yeah,
you
all
listen to
changed.
something
Yeah,
10 years ago and it's the same thing that you're doing now, then you haven't
yeah.
changed, and that's no good.
It depends. It depends, but I understand what you
Yeah.
mean for sure,
Mhm.
especially in that age. So yeah, so we are also touring quite intensively with Symbio. That's like 70% of what I do touring wise is with Symbio.
Wow.
We have this idea because it's our like main project that we work on regularly.
So do you have any pets, children, or a wife?
Pets. I don't have a pet. I don't have any children, and I'm not married. But
That's why you can tour so
yeah,
much.
that's the thing. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And yeah, so that's if one would have a child or even a pet,
Yeah.
it would be different.
Yeah.
So, but I think now for a few years further, the wish is to play more and tour more. Then we will see what life brings.
Do you do your own like booking, or do you have some like an agent that does that for you, or how do you
I have
get
done,
gigs?
have been doing most of the booking during all the years ourselves, and myself actually, because I've been booking most of the gigs in my projects, like these long-term projects. We have different things that we are good at or interested in that. So we're really good at like you do most of that and you do most of that, and then we help each other if needed.
Mm-hmm.
But now in the last years with Symbio, we are working now with an American agent and also Canadian, which is new, coming up for the next year.
Cool.
French Canadian because they are from Quebec,
Nice.
and then also one in Germany and also one in Denmark and one in UK. So that helps
Oh,
a bit because it
yeah.
takes so much time to do that booking work if you want to live only from the gigs. But you also learn a lot and you get a lot of contacts, but it's very hard to keep up because you want to play and develop, and you know how life is. it takes time to do things, and we get older, we want to have some breath, and we have relations with other people who are not musicians, or at least we're not playing music with them at that time. So we want to spend time with that as well, and maybe doing some other things that you're interested in. So booking takes a lot of time.
Perfect segue into my last question.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
what are you interested in other than hurdy-gurdy? So, like, what are some things that are personal to you that, like, take your interest? So, or hobbies,
Well,
or anything weird, Johannes. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, I love the question. I think I'm very interested in people, and to be in meeting people, listen to stories, and have these conversations about life and world. Because I think the human connection is also something that in the music, getting back to music, makes me being interested in working with music, because the music, for me at least, it's very therapeutic, and it makes me go into my inner world, and it has been so important for me. Music has been life-saving for me, I would say, actually. And nowadays it's not life-saving in that way, but still it has such a strong connection to me. I'm still amazed that one of the things that can move me most in this life is that after we have had this lovely conversation, I can put on one of my favorite songs on a small, MP3 and listen and just feel like, wow, I'm just so grateful to be alive, to experience this thing. That's really cool. And the same thing when you listen to music or play. Why did we come into music again? But
all about
people,
music.
yeah. No, people and dialogue, because we live on this world. It sounds so cliche when I'm saying this, but we are all born into this world, and we live in our different societies, and then we have the global aspect. How can we cope with being together, even having different views of how the life should be, and also very different backgrounds, which makes us do different choices now and then. So now I'm really interested in that. I'm really interested in dialogue for peace and so on. So to somehow learn understanding other people, and also myself through that, partly through that. Yeah. So, and also this goes into history and societal questions, politics, literature and art. Very interested in that. These are my strong interests. History, of course, since I wanted to be a historian as a child, and also working with people. I'm interested in some voluntary work and so on the side. And that's also the thing, to be with people. And I think life is very amazing thing. Can be amazing, can also be hard and very challenging. And I mean, we are so lucky. We play music and we have a house, and so still life can be difficult. But I mean, for many people in the world, they have so many more struggles. So to be together is important. Even though I like to be by myself sometimes and just play or be, but you understand what I mean.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
Really important with people, and to try to give something to others, because I got things from other people, and we are just trying to find a way to live this life.
Absolutely. Did you get a sense of anything new when you recently came over to the United States? When you went to New Orleans for the folk, there was a folk conference there, correct?
Yeah.
You and Symbio you got invited to that, yeah?
Yeah. How do you mean, like, if I got a sense of anything
was it your
regarding?
first time at that conference, or had you been there before, or?
No, we were there in 2020, actually, playing as official. Yeah. And I felt that there was a very nice vibe, of course. So a little bit less people, and maybe actually less people from outside of US. First year was a lot of international artists. Now it was a bit less. I mean, many things are happening, both with visas and so on, as you know. So I think it can be that. And also,
was there a larger presence there of American or Canadian folk musicians because there's more folk music going on, or just because of the visa thing? Like, what was your impression there?
I think I don't know the answers, but I would say maybe because of the visa things, because less Canadians were there as well.
Wow.
you
Okay.
know, but of course the Americans were there strongly representing, you know, so, and the vibe was so nice
Yeah.
and, you
It
know,
was useful and helpful and
so
great.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Good.
So yeah,
But you're
and
probably
I'm
glad to
also
be home.
connecting to, yeah, it is nice to be at home. It's
Hmm.
so nice to travel and to. I'm so happy that I have friends in the are working as a touring musician or something else where you're going around to 25 countries, which I have been lucky to visit. So some of my best friends lives are living in other countries, which is amazing because if you come to that country, you have
Yeah.
a place or you have a
Yeah.
someone
Someone to go to the
near
pub with.
to meet, and that's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. Yeah, and
Awesome.
that's also a nice thing regarding hurdy-gurdy because the small network, it's a really small network, even if it's happily it's getting strong. Luckily, it's getting bigger.
Oh yeah.
Um, you have some connections. You know, some of my best friends are connected to hurdy-gurdy because they're hurdy-gurdy players living in Spain or, you know, so, and I'm really happy for that. So the instrument, I think that's something I'm also happy with, that when I started with this instrument and decided that this is the instrument I want to work with, it was an instrument which didn't give the answers directly. I go to this education and you learn this, and then you ask this person or you study. I needed to find my way, and also like if I want something, if I want inspiration from someone, I need to go there to meet that person
Yeah.
because it gives so much to meet a person and have their whole vibe, you know. For me
Yeah.
that has been incredibly inspiring, even if I didn't have a teacher every week or every month, you know, which would have been amazing
Right.
also, and I was lucky to have that with other instruments when I was younger, but
But it takes a special
that's a
person.
cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
yeah, you need to somehow be up for that, and you need to
Exactly.
have,
Yeah.
you know,
It's
I'm not
not like
saying something is
clarinet
better or
lessons.
worse than the other thing. No, it's like you, but it suited me at least. Yeah, I feel it did, you know.
Cool.
But you were also asking about other things that I'm working on my solo
Yeah.
project, which I have worked on for many years, but because of many things, I didn't record the album.
Mm.
I hope it's the time I do it this year. But I said that many years, but somehow I
This year
feel
will be the
with
year
this
for
year,
sure.
yeah, I somehow think it's a lot with, you know, instruments, and also I'm lucky to work a lot. And that's
Yeah.
one thing with musicians that you need to work a lot if you're a freelance musician. And I worked for many years without vacation in the summers or the weekends. Last year, I started to learn to take a weekend, and that's so nice for me. I'm really happy for that.
Yeah.
But that's also because the passion, and most of my close friends were also in the music. And also, you were speaking about relations. I had relations with also women who are artists and musicians. So somehow many things could fit in there. But now it's really nice to have. You can have both, and you grow as a
Yeah.
person, as we said, and you develop. And like we are lucky to do that. So. But the
Absolutely.
solo album is coming. I love to play solo as well as with people, but to play solo is also interesting because you can, if you turn your hand like that, you are the person who turns everything.
Yeah.
And also, it's just nice to compose. As you said, the connection with your instrument and your voice. I really like that because the hurdy-gurdy has something, a world of its own, and it's really nice to dig into that. And so, and then I'm
Absolutely.
doing some part projects. I'm doing a thing with Maria Kalaniemi, who is an amazing accordionist, who is one of my idols, and also another amazing Finnish producer and instrumentalist, Eero Grundström, who is a harmonium and synthesizer player and
Oh,
producer.
nice.
So we're playing her music for some concerts later, and that's a really nice thing as well.
Cool.
Where do I see myself in 5 years? I really hope that I will live a life where I feel that I'm most of the time happy, and I'm happy to play if I will continue to do that, which would be my wish. That I have recorded my solo album and that we are still playing with Symbio and Maija and you know, and also that we have chance to meet people and just live with the music in a good way, and that I have beautiful, good relations, and yeah, so
That's
on,
great.
that I feel happy. And yeah,
Well, I have a
and that
feeling
we
that all
meet.
that will be true.
Yes.
And hopefully you'll come to the workshop one day. That would be great as a teacher.
Well, we hope so. I'm not too optimistic. That would be super nice. Yeah, I mean, let's hope it is, and in the world, that's what's good with life, with all the hardships, but also a lot of time for the beautiful things.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Johannes,
Well, this was great.
Can you tell anybody that's watching this that may have not have known who you were,
Yeah.
what you do beforehand, where can they find you? Where can they find your music?
There should be
your
plenty
website?
of them who don't. Yeah, plenty of
Well,
them
and
should
we're
know
gonna
who I'm
have all
not,
the
who I
stuff
am
in the
not.
links below. Too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure many of them doesn't know, and that's very fine. So I could say that you can check out Symbio on your streaming services or symbiomusic.com or on YouTube. You can check out Migrating with Johannes Geworkian Hellman and Maija Kauhanen. You will find that album. JohannesGeworkianHellman.com. You will find my website, and on Facebook and Instagram. I exist there still. So, and I share some things there sometimes, so you can be there. Yeah,
Brilliant.
and I also want to mention there is so many other great artists that I love, but I cannot say all of these names. Both hurdy-gurdy players and other who doesn't play hurdy-gurdy. So go and dive in and listen to some great music. And hopefully
absolutely.
some of that music could be mine as well. So please go and listen.
Cool. Well, it was wonderful having you and talking.
Thank you so
much.
This was so much fun.
It was great.
Thank you
so
for taking your time out of your tour.
Yeah, but that's we have a day off here, so that feels great.
Oh,
and I
good.
hope that I have.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And
it's snowing there, right?
There was something valuable from here coming. There is snow. Actually, now it became night here, but
Oh yeah,
the snow is here.
Yeah. We still have snow going on right now.
Mm.
It's supposed to be very cold later, but anyway. Well, Right.
Thanks so much, Johannes.
Yeah, thank you very much.